Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be discussing some of the similarities between the United States of America and Great Britain following the American Revolutionary War and our secession from the British colonies. Some of the things I'm going to be covering today include their government and how their citizens viewing our Bill of Rights changed things, women and their fight for improved rights, including the right to vote, and how the church and state oppressed them, and the abolishment of slavery and the difficulties that it took to do that. I'm going to be starting with the government and the changes that occurred once their citizens saw our Bill of Rights. In a book by Charles Tilley titled Popular Contention in Great Britain, he covers a great deal many things. One of the most important that he covers is how Edmund Burke, one of our staunchest allies during the American Revolutionary War, was opposed to British citizens gaining the same Bill of Rights that we had and being able to elect their own government officials to be their real leaders. He thought that you had to be born to lead and to rule. It was not really, you couldn't really be elected to rule. That's what he and his loyalists thought. The majority population, however, wanted a Bill of Rights and wanted to elect their leaders. And they eventually got it, which leads to the conclusion that even though we are different from each other, obviously, even in today's day and age, America and the United Kingdom are very different from each other. They just wanted the same rights that we had. That's all our ancestors wanted, was to be treated like people and be represented by people they chose. We'll move on from how our governments are similar and our changes were similar onto women's rights and their fight and to improve their lot in life. Ben Griffin covers in the politics of gender in Victorian Britain a lot of really important things that I think affected the world all over, but one of the most important things that he starts off with is how Andrew Stuart assaulted his wife, Elizabeth Stuart, after she called him mad because he had been raving for hours, and he slapped her 4 times. She divorced him, which was allowed because he had assaulted her, but she was not allowed to take her children with her because, in their words, the children might help him come out of his despair and madness. That was ridiculous, and cases like that started causing people to push for female rights to be improved. However, any improvement in the female rights area was opposed by the government and the church, thinking that improving their rights and making it so that the man of the house did not have complete control would lead to discord and more divorces and more problems for the government. While this thought was held by many for a long time, eventually in 1918, women would be given the right to vote, which would establish them as, at that time, equal to men in their eyes. We're going to move on from women's rights onto the abolishment of slavery. Richard Hussey wrote in The Freedom of Burning how Sir William Dolben's Act in 1788 caused the slave trade to slow almost to a halt, and for the British Navy to go out and enforce their new laws. They didn't accept new slaves. This did not get rid of slavery in Britain, but it slowed down the slave trade. It wouldn't be until Queen Victoria ascended to the throne, and many years following that, in 1833, under her, the government abolished all slavery. And even though they were freed, there was a severe price to be paid. 20 million pounds, which is the British currency, was used to pay off all those slave owners for what was seen at the time as their property. So in conclusion, even though we are very different today, and back then even, our battle to improve our rights, women's rights, and abolish slavery concluded very similarly. So even though we seceded from them and are very different from each other today, we share a lot of similarities back then and today.